The small human village on the edge of the forest always looked peaceful from far away. But inside the village, fear lived quietly between the people. They whispered about one person again and again. Evan, the young man who lived alone near the trees. No one really knew him, but everyone talked about him like they did. They said he never smiled, never joined any festival, never ate with anyone, and always kept his distance because of that. People started calling him the forest monster. Children were told not to go near his cabin, and adults avoided his eyes. Evan knew the rumors, but he stayed silent. He worked alone, hunted alone, and slept alone. It was easier that way, but one stormy night changed everything. The sky roared with thunder. Rain hit the ground like falling stones. The villagers locked their doors, afraid of the storm. But Evan, who was checking the traps near the forest edge, stopped suddenly when he heard a weak sound. A soft cry. At first, he thought it was an injured animal. But when he moved the branches aside, he froze. A small alien girl lay half-buried under wet leaves. Her skin glowed faint blue. Her long hair was tangled with mud, and strange light patterns moved slowly across her arms. She looked no older than 8 or 9 in human years, but her eyes were full of terror. When she saw Evan, she tried to crawl away, but she was too weak. Peoples. She whispered, her voice shaking. No hurt. Protector. Evan stared at her, confused. No one ever called him anything kind before. And why did she know the word protector? Before he could speak, loud voices came from behind him. Villagers had seen the light from the girl's body and were running toward them with torches. There it is. A man shouted, a demon child. A creature from the dark sky. Another voice screamed, and Evan is with it. We always knew he was a monster too. Evan looked at the girl. She was trembling, pressing herself into the mud, trying to disappear. Her body glowed brighter from fear. He understood in one moment. If he left her there, the villagers would kill her. Without thinking, Evan picked her up gently. She gasped from pain, but she held onto him with her small hands like he was the only safe thing in the world. Evan, step away from that monster. The chief shouted, but Evan did not stop. He turned and ran into the forest with the girl in his arms, pushing past branches as lightning flashed across the sky. Behind him, he heard angry orders. Follow him. He has chosen the creature over us. He was always one of them. The forest was dark, but Evan knew it better than anyone. He moved fast, his breath shaking, but he did not let go of the girl for even a second. When they reached his cabin, Evan closed the door and placed the alien girl on his bed. She curled up like a frightened animal, her glowing eyes wide and shining with tears. You're safe now, Evan said softly, though he did not know if she understood him. The girl touched his wrist gently, and suddenly a warm light passed from her fingers into his skin. Evan pulled back, startled. You? Protector. She whispered again. My people say humans. Old protectors. Hero blood. Evan felt a strange pull in his chest, like something old inside him responded to her words. What are you? Asked quietly. The girl blinked slowly. My name. Lyra. Before Evan could ask more, a deep rumble shook the cabin walls. The girl's eyes widened in fear again. She whispered, They come. They follow me. The real monsters. Evan stepped back, confused and alarmed. Who is coming? But before she could answer, a loud horn echoed through the forest, a sound no human had ever heard before in their lives. Lyra grabbed Evan's shirt tightly and said with a breaking voice, Please, don't let them take me. Daddy Protector. Evan froze. He had never been called Daddy in his entire life. He didn't even know this child, but she clung to him like he was her only hope. Outside, something huge moved through the trees. And the villagers were still hunting him too. Evan looked at the door and knew one thing. His quiet life was over, and something far bigger than the village's fear was about to begin. Inside the small cabin, the storm outside grew stronger. Rain hit the roof like drums, and the wind pushed the walls as if something wanted to break in. Evan stood near the window, watching shadows move between the trees. He did not know if they were villagers or something worse. Behind him, the alien girl Lyra sat quietly on his bed, hugging her knees. Her glowing patterns were dim now, as if her body was saving every small bit of energy. She looked so small, so fragile, and so scared. It was hard to believe the whole village wanted to kill her. Evan took a slow breath and turned toward her. "You said someone is coming," he said gently. "Who are they?" Lyra hesitated. Her fingers trembled as she touched the small crystal hanging around her neck. "My people. My village." "Burned," she whispered. "Monsters came from the sky. Oh, they hunted us. They want me because I saw something I should not see." Evan knelt down near her, trying to understand. "What did you see?" Lyra looked up at him with sad, glowing eyes. "Humans," she said, "but different. Strong, brave. We call them old protectors. Your kind saved my people many years ago." Evan blinked. That made no sense to him. Humans saved your people. Yes. Lyra nodded slowly. They fought the monsters. They carried the mark of courage. Light on their skin. Same light I saw on you in the rain. Evan's heart skipped. He remembered nothing glowing on his skin. He thought she was mistaken. "You're wrong," he said, trying to stay calm. "I'm not a protector. I'm just me." But Lyra shook her head. "You picked me up when everyone else feared me. That is the true mark." Outside, branches cracked loudly. Something heavy was moving closer. Lyra flinched at the sound, grabbing Evan's sleeve with shaking hands. "They are here," she whispered. "Not just villagers. The monsters too." Evan felt a cold wave run through his body. He stood up and checked the door's wooden lock. It was weak. Too weak. If something strong pushed it, it would break in seconds. "Why are they after you?" he asked, forcing his voice to stay steady. Lyra touched her neck crystal again. "I carry memory," she said. "My people store memories inside crystals. I saw the monsters' plan. I saw their leader. They want the crystal back. They want me dead, so no one knows." Evan exhaled slowly. So she wasn't just a random child. She was a witness, a target, and now, because he saved her, he was a target too. Suddenly, a loud knock hit the cabin door. "Evan," a voice shouted, "open up. Give us the alien." It was a villager, breathless and angry. Evan did not move. Lyra's voice cracked. "Please don't let them take me. They will hand me to the monsters." Evan swallowed hard. "Stay behind me," he said, his voice firmer than before. The door shook again as fists pounded on it. "Evan, we saw lights. We know she's inside. Bring her out before we burn your cabin down." Evan grabbed his old hunting spear from the corner of the room. He didn't want to hurt anyone, but he didn't want to lose the girl either. "Please leave," Evan shouted through the door. "She is not dangerous." But the villagers refused to listen. Just like always, a sudden silence fell outside. Too sudden, too strange. Lyra's eyes widened in terror. They stopped. "Because something else came," she whispered. "Something they fear more than me." Evan stepped back from the door as the air outside changed. A deep, vibrating sound filled the forest, like the growl of a giant creature. Then, a scream, a villager's scream. "Help! Something is out here." The scream ended suddenly. Evan's breath froze. He looked at Lyra, and she shook her head slowly, tears in her eyes. "It's them," she said. "They found me." The cabin door shook again, not from fists now, from something massive. The wood cracked and dust fell from the ceiling. Lyra ran to Evan and grabbed his arm. "Protector, don't let them take me," she begged. "They will destroy your whole village next." Evan stared at the door. He had lived quietly his whole life. He never asked for danger or responsibility. But now, trembling, wounded child was calling him protector. Something monstrous was waiting outside. And he knew one thing with painful clarity. He could not run anymore. He had to face whatever stood on the other side of that door. Even if everyone else called him a monster, he would show them what a real protector looked like. The cabin door shook again, harder this time. Dust fell from the ceiling, and the wooden frame groaned under the pressure. Evan stepped in front of Lyra, holding his old spear tightly. His hands were shaking, but his eyes stayed fixed on the door. He had never protected anyone before, but right now, protecting Lyra felt like the only thing that mattered in the world. Outside, the forest went quiet, an unnatural, heavy silence that made the hair on Evan's neck rise. The villagers who were yelling moments ago were now whispering fearfully. Something walked between them, something big, something breathing like a beast with a chest the size of a house. Lyra pressed her forehead against Evan's back, her small hands clutching his shirt. "They smell me," she whispered. "They follow my light. They want the memory crystal." The door cracked again, this time from a force that did not belong to any human. A long, dark claw pushed through the wooden plank for just a second before pulling back. Evan's breath caught in his chest. "What is that?" he asked, voice low. A hunter beast, Lyra answered softly. "They release these creatures to find survivors. They never stop until they catch the scent." Evan looked around the room. His eyes landed on the narrow back window, small but large enough for a child. "Lyra," he said, turning to her, "go through the window. I'll distract it." Lyra shook her head immediately, tears forming in her glowing eyes. "No, if you stay, it will kill you. They always kill the protectors first." "I'm not a protector," Evan said quietly. "I'm just trying to keep you alive." Lyra stepped closer and pressed her forehead to Evan's hand. "That is what protectors do," she whispered. Before he could argue, the door exploded inward, pieces of wood flying across the cabin. Evan grabbed Lyra and pulled her behind a fallen table as a massive shadow stepped through the broken frame. The creature was taller than any human, its skin black and stone-like, its eyes burning with red light. Its head was shaped like a twisted wolf, and every breath came out like smoke. Villagers screamed and ran. But the beast did not follow them. Its gaze locked only on Lyra. Evan felt Lyra trembling behind him. "You have to run," he whispered. But Lyra grabbed his arm with surprising strength. "No, you cannot fight it alone. I can help you, but it will hurt me." Evan turned just enough to see her glowing markings flicker weakly. "What do you mean?" "My people can link our energy to humans," Lyra said. "Protector blood reacts to us. We can guide your movements, make you faster, stronger. But it takes my strength." Evan swallowed. He didn't want to hurt her, but he also knew neither of them would survive if he fought the beast alone. "Lyra," he said softly, "if we do this, I will protect you with everything I have." Lyra nodded, placing her small, glowing hand on Evan's wrist. A sudden warmth shot up Evan's arm. His vision sharpened, his hearing focused. The world slowed around him. He felt his heart beat like a drum inside his chest. Lyra gasped, her own glow dimming as she shared her power with him. The beast lunged. Evan moved. Faster than he believed possible. The creature's claws missed him by inches, slicing the table in half like soft bread. Evan thrust his spear forward, hitting the creature's shoulder. The beast roared, the sound shaking the cabin walls. It swung its massive arm, and Evan was thrown back, hitting the floor hard. Lyra cried out and crawled to him. "Protector, get up," she begged. "Don't stop." Evan stood, his legs trembling, but his mind sharper than ever. He looked at the damaged cabin. The fire from the torches was spreading through the broken door frame. Smoke rising fast. The villagers had lit the forest earlier to drive Evan out. Now the flames were inching toward the cabin. The beast turned toward Lyra again, ignoring Evan completely. Evan felt something inside him ignite anger, fear, and a strange old strength he didn't know he had. He grabbed a burning piece of wood from the floor and charged. The creature roared when the fire touched its skin. Stepping back for the first time, Lyra gasped. It fears fire. Protector, use fire. Evan swung the firebrand again. Pushing the beast toward the door, it stumbled back into the burning forest, growling and struggling against the flames. Evan didn't stop until the creature disappeared into the darkness. Breathing hard, he turned back to Lyra. She was on her knees, her glow dim and tired. Her small voice cracked as she whispered, "They will send more. Many more. Because they know a protector lives here now." Evan lifted her gently into his arms. He looked at the burning trees, the frightened villagers, the broken cabin. There was no turning back, no safe place anymore. The hunt was only beginning. The burning forest glowed red as Evan carried Lyra away from the cabin ruins. Smoke followed the wind. An angry orange light flickered across the trees like warning signals. Lyra clung to Evan's shirt, too weak to stand on her own now. Her glowing marks were faint, showing how much energy she had lost helping him fight. Evan kept moving deeper into the forest, avoiding the narrow paths where villagers might be hiding. His heart pounded from fear, from the fight, and from the heavy truth inside him. He was no longer just a quiet man living alone. Something larger had pulled him into its world, and there was no escape anymore. Behind them, the villagers cried out in panic. "There in the forest. What kind of beast is that? We must leave. Everyone, run." Evans stopped for a moment and looked back. Dark shapes moved between the flames, more creatures entering the forest. Their footsteps made the earth vibrate. Their long shadows stretched across the burning trees. Lyra weakly tightened her grip around his neck. "They are not hunter beasts," she whispered. These are worse." Evan's chest tightened. "If they're worse, then why are they coming here?" Lyra swallowed hard, her voice trembling. "Because the village helped me escape once," she said. "Now they want to erase everything that touched me." "If they find the village," she didn't finish the sentence, but Evan understood. If he didn't act, the monsters would destroy every human in that village, even the ones who hated him, even the ones who tried to burn his home. "No," Evan said firmly, surprising even himself. "I won't let your enemies destroy my people." Lyra looked up at him with sad, soft eyes. "But they don't care for you," she whispered. "That doesn't matter," Evan replied. "They're still human, and they're still my village." He set Lyra gently against a fallen tree trunk and checked her temperature. She was burning with fever. Her voice was barely a whisper now. "Protector. If you fight now, you must do it without me. I have nothing left to give." Evan knelt in front of her. "You don't need to help me. You've done enough." Lyra reached out and placed a trembling hand on his cheek. "I called you protector because I felt bravery in you. But now I see something stronger." "What?" Evan asked quietly. "Heart," she whispered. "A monster cannot protect a child. Only a father can." The words hit Evan deep in his chest. He didn't know what he was to her. He didn't know why she trusted him with her life. But he felt something heavy and warm inside him, a feeling he had never experienced before. A roar shook the forest, shaking the leaves from the trees. Evan stood up slowly and grabbed a burning branch from the ground. The fire danced across the wood like a living thing. Lyra tried to stand, but fell to her knees. "No, you cannot face them alone." "I won't be alone," Evan said, turning toward the approaching danger. "You're with me." "That's enough." Another roar echoed, closer now. The trees parted as a massive creature stepped out. It was twice the size of the hunter beast, a war beast from Lyra's world armored with thick black plates, eyes glowing with cruel intelligence. Its claws were long as blades, its teeth sharp as metal. Evan's grip tightened on the firebrand. He felt fear, deep fear, but he didn't run. The war beast turned its gaze toward Evan, then toward Lyra. Its growl deepened. It stepped forward slowly, testing the ground, smelling the air. Lyra cried out, "They know your light now." They know you fought the hunter beast. They know you protect me. And that makes you their target. Evan's jaw clenched. Good, he said, his voice steady. Let it come for me instead of the village. The war beast lunged. Evan rolled aside, the creature's claws tearing the earth where he had stood. Fire lit the side of the beast's armor, making it roar in anger. Evan swung the burning branch, hitting its exposed side. The beast turned violently, striking Evan across the shoulder and sending him crashing into the dirt. Pain shot through Evan's body, but he forced himself to get up again. Lyra cried out, "Protector, please. You cannot die. Not for me." Evan wiped blood from his forehead. "I'm not dying," he said. "I'm fighting." The beast charged again, faster than before. Evan dodged left, feeling the wind of its claws brush past his face. Firelight flickered behind him, and he grabbed a burning log from a fallen tree. He ran forward and slammed it into the center of the beast's chest. A shockwave of heat burst out. The war beast staggered back, roaring in pain. Lyra's weak voice broke through the roar. "It fears your light. It fears fire. It fears protector blood." Evan raised the flaming log again as the monster prepared another attack. He did not know if he could win. He did not know if he would survive, but he knew one thing. He would not let anything take Lyra away. Not while he still had breath in his body. The real enemy had arrived, and Evan was done running. The war beast crashed backward into a burning tree, shaking the ground. Flames curled around its armored skin as it let out a roar that echoed across the entire forest. Evan stood in front of Lyra, chest rising and falling, his hands bruised and burned from holding the fire. The heat hit his face, but he did not step back. He could not. Behind him, Lyra stared with wide glowing eyes. "Protector." "Your light is waking," she whispered, her voice trembling with awe and fear. Evan didn't understand. "What light?" he asked, keeping his eyes on the beast crawling back to its feet. Lyra pointed at his arm, and Evan's breath caught under the dirt and cuts. A faint golden glow pulsed across his skin. It spread slowly, forming lines and shapes that looked like ancient patterns. It didn't burn, it didn't hurt, but it felt alive. Evan took a step back in shock. "What is happening to me?" Lyra pushed herself upright, weak but determined. "It is the mark of the protector," she said softly. "My people placed this mark on humans long ago. Humans with brave hearts, with gentle hearts, with father hearts." Evan felt something twist inside him. "I don't know how to be any of that," he whispered. But Lyra shook her head. "You already are. You carried me when everyone else ran. You fought monsters with fire. You stayed when you could run." Before Evan could reply, the war beast charged again, its roar splitting the air. Evan lifted the flaming log, but the beast was too fast this time. It slammed into him with bone-breaking force, sending him flying into a tree. His back hit the trunk hard, and he gasped in pain as the world spun. Lyra screamed, "Evan, protector, no!" The beast turned toward her, its red eyes narrowing. Lyra tried to crawl away, but she was too weak. Her glow flickered like a dying star. "Don't hurt her," Evan shouted, forcing himself to stand. But his legs shook, and blood dripped down his arm. The war beast approached Lyra step by step. Lyra closed her eyes, whispering weakly, "I'm sorry. I brought danger to your home. I brought darkness to your world." Evan felt something inside him break. Not his bones, but something deeper, something heavier. He grabbed the soil beneath him, pushing himself onto his feet. The golden lines on his arms suddenly flared bright, pulsing like a heartbeat. Evan felt warmth spread across his entire body. Strength filled his muscles. Pain faded from his bones. He didn't understand it, but he accepted it. The protector mark had awakened in one swift movement, faster than he believed possible. Evan sprinted across the burning ground. The golden light traced behind him like a comet. He grabbed the warbeast by the back of its armor and pulled with incredible force. The creature roared in surprise as Evan hurled it away from Lyra, its heavy body slamming into a fallen tree. Lyra stared, eyes wide, protector. "Your strength is growing," she whispered, unable to believe what she was seeing. Evan stepped forward, golden light burning under his skin. "I don't care about strength," he said, voice steady and cold. "I care about keeping her safe." But the warbeast was not done. It rose again, angrier, more desperate. Its claws glowed with dark red energy, energy that burned through wood and stone alike. The creature lunged toward Evan, leaving deep cracks in the ground with each step. Evan met it head-on. Their bodies collided with an explosive force that sent shockwaves through the forest. Fire danced around them as they struggled, light against darkness, courage against cruelty. Evan held the beast's jaws apart with his bare hands, the golden glow spreading up his arms like fire. The creature twisted, snarling, trying to break free. Smoke and heat filled the air. Evan's muscles trembled from the effort, but he pushed harder. Lyra dragged herself forward, voice breaking. "Evan, protector, use the mark, feel it, let it guide you." He closed his eyes for half a second, letting the warmth inside him rise. The golden light brightened, surrounding him like a shield. The warbeast screamed as the light burned its skin. With a final burst of strength, Evan shoved the creature backward with a roar of his own. The beast fell into the fire, flames swallowing it whole. Its screams echoed through the forest until they faded into silence. Evan stood shaking, breathing hard. The golden light slowly dimmed on his skin, becoming softer, calmer. He turned to Lyra, lifting her gently into his arms. "You're safe," he whispered. Lyra leaned her head against his chest. "You carry the mark," she said weakly. "Humans believed it lost. But it lives in you." Evan looked at the glowing lines on his arm. He didn't know what they meant. He didn't know why he had them. But he knew one thing. If monsters were coming for Lyra, then they would have to go through him first. The forest burned around them, but for the first time, Evan felt a strange, powerful truth rising inside him. He was not a monster. He was becoming something else, something dangerous, something protective, something legendary. The protector mark had returned to the world, and it had chosen him. The flames burned lower now, leaving long shadows across the ground. Smoke drifted through the forest like slow-moving ghosts. Evan carried Lyra in his arms, her small body warm and weak against his chest. Her glowing patterns had faded so much they looked almost gone. He gently set her down beneath a tall tree where the fire could not reach. She tried to sit up, but her strength was nearly gone. Still, her eyes stayed fixed on Evan, not with fear, but with trust. A trust deeper than anything he had ever felt in his life. "Evan." She whispered softly, "Your mark had answered you." Evan looked at the golden light on his arm, now faint but still alive under his skin. "It answered because you needed me," he said. Surprised at the calm in his own voice, Lyra reached toward the mark, her fingers shaking. The protector mark grows with emotion, with purpose. "With love," she said. Evan felt his breath stop for a moment. Love? He didn't know how to respond. Before he could speak, a deep vibration shook the ground beneath them. Birds fled from the trees. The air trembled. Evan stood quickly and moved in front of Lyra, holding his spear-like piece of burning wood. "What now?" he muttered, adrenaline rising again. Lyra's eyes filled with fear. The warbeast was not alone, she whispered. More creatures follow its call. They move in packs. Evan narrowed his eyes. How many? Lyra swallowed. Maybe 5 or 10. Maybe more. Evan felt a knot tighten in his chest. He was already exhausted, his wounds still bleeding, but Lyra was too weak to move. If more creatures came now, they would be finished, unless he did something. Unless he became more than a man, He stepped closer to Lyra and knelt, so they were at eye level. "I need you to trust me," he said softly. Lyra blinked, confused. "I already trust you." More than anyone, Evan held out his glowing arm. "You said the mark reacts to connection. Then help me awaken it again." Lyra hesitated. "It will hurt me. It will drain what little I have left. I won't let it take everything," Evan said, gently placing his hand over hers. "Just enough for me to stand between you and the monsters." Lyra stared at him with trembling eyes full of both fear and deep affection. Then she nodded and placed her hand over his protector mark. A warm current shot through Evan's arm. Light spread again across his skin, brighter than before, forming new patterns he had never seen. Lyra gasped as her glow flickered weakly, but she held on. Evan clenched his teeth as a surge of energy filled him, sharper, stronger, clearer. His senses opened wide. He could hear the footsteps of creatures miles away. He smelled the metal taste of danger in the air. He felt the earth shake as something big approached. Lyra collapsed against him, breathing weakly. "That's enough. Stop." Evan pulled her into his arms. "Thank you," he whispered. "I won't waste it." The ground burst open as the first creature leaped out, a smaller war beast, but faster, with claws shaped like hooked blades. Evan moved with speed he didn't know he had. He dodged the attack, grabbed a burning branch, and struck the beast across the face. It shrieked, stumbling backward. Another creature charged from the right, and Evan twisted, swinging the firebrand in a wide arc. Sparks flew. The monster fell back hissing. Lyra watched with wide, weak eyes, whispering, "Protect her. You move like my people's legends." Evan didn't feel like a legend. He felt like a man fighting for a child. A third creature lunged, jaws open. Keats caught its head with both hands, the golden light burning across his skin. The creature roared, but Evan pushed harder, using strength drawn from something deep inside, something that felt ancient. He shoved the monster into a fallen tree and smashed the burning branch against its skull until it stopped moving. 4 more creatures appeared from the left. Evan stepped forward, fire behind him. Lyra behind him. He did not run. He did not panic. He felt only one thing. No one would touch the child behind him. The creatures circled him, but hesitated. Something about the golden light made them uneasy. Evan tightened his grip on the firebrand. "Come on," he growled. "You want her? You get me first." The monsters snarled and leaped together. Evan met them with fire and light, moving faster than fear itself. He dodged claws, blocked jaws, and struck burning blows again and again. Lyra watched, tears falling down her cheeks. She whispered softly, "Father. You became father." Evan didn't hear her. He was too busy fighting for her life, for the village, for something he didn't understand yet, but felt deeply, powerfully. As the last creature fell, Evan stood panting. The golden light on his skin dimmed again. His body shook from exhaustion. But he remained standing. He turned to Lyra, lifting her gently. "You're safe," he whispered, voice soft but full of fire. Lyra pressed her forehead to his chest. "You truly are a protector," she said. "But the biggest creature is still coming." Evan's eyes fell on the shaking forest. Something massive pushed through the trees. Something ancient, something worse than all the others combined. Evan tightened his grip around Lyra. "Then let it come," he said. "I'm not done yet." The forest trembled like a living creature as something massive pushed through the burning trees. Each step sounded like thunder rolling across the earth. Evan held Lyra close, feeling her weak breath against his shoulder. She was almost weightless now, too tired, too drained. Her glow flickered like a dying candle. But her eyes stayed open, staring into the darkness where the final monster approached. "Protector." Lyra whispered, "This one is not like the others. It is the Alpha, the leader. The one who burned my home." Evan's jaw clenched. "Then it ends here," he said quietly. The trees split apart, falling like matchsticks. and the alpha war beast stepped into view. It was enormous, 3 times the size of any monster Evan had fought. Its armor was black as night, cracked with red fire, glowing underneath. Its horns curved like blades. Its claws scraped sparks off the ground, and its eyes. Its eyes were not just red, they were intelligent, calculating, full of cold hatred. It stared at Evan, then at Lyra, and let out a deep, earth-rattling roar. Lyra gasped and clutched Evan's shirt. It knows the mark chose you. It hunts protectors most of all. Evan gently set Lyra behind him and took a step forward, even though every muscle in his body screamed to stop. It had nothing left. No strength, no fire, no support from Lyra's energy. The golden glow on his skin was almost gone, but his heart was burning brighter than ever. The alpha beast charged, its footsteps shaking the ground. Evan braced himself, lifting a shattered, burning branch as if it were a real weapon. The creature swung its massive claw. Evan rolled aside, but felt the wind of the blow slice past his face. The claw left a deep trench in the earth. If that hit him, it would break him in half. Evan attacked with everything he had left, swinging the burning branch into the creature's side. The fire hissed against its armored skin, but the beast barely reacted. It turned and slammed Evan with its tail. The force threw him across the field, crashing him into a broken tree. Lyra cried out, "Evan! Evan!" He groaned, trying to stand. His ribs screamed with pain, but he forced himself upright. He saw the alpha turning toward Lyra now. Slowly, confidently, it knew she was weak. It knew she couldn't run. "No," Evan whispered, blood dripping down his face. He pushed himself forward, stumbling at first. Then running despite the pain slicing through his body, the alpha lowered its head and prepared to strike Lyra. Lyra didn't move. She didn't have the strength. She closed her eyes and whispered, "I'm sorry, Protector. I couldn't save you. I couldn't save anyone." The beast raised its claw to crush her, and Evan threw himself between them. He didn't think, he didn't fear. He simply moved because protecting Lyra felt like breathing, like purpose, like destiny. The massive claw came down, but it did not break Evan, because at the last second, the golden light exploded across his body, brighter than ever before. It wasn't warm this time. It was blazing, fierce, unstoppable. A shield of light formed around him. The alpha's claws hit the shield and stopped. Lyra's eyes flew open. "Protector." Your heart awakened it fully. Evan pushed upward with both arms, shouting from the deepest part of his soul. The golden light surged, throwing the alpha backward. The monster crashed into a burning tree, roaring in pain for the first time. Evan stepped forward, each footstep glowing on the ground. "I won't let you hurt her," he said, voice steady, filled with something unbroken and ancient. "Not her. Not my child." Lyra gasped softly, tears slipping down her cheeks. He called her his child. Not because he had to, but because he felt it. The alpha roared again and attacked. Evan met it head-on. Golden energy pulsed with every strike. His movements flowed like they belonged to someone who had fought battles for years. He dodged the alpha's claws, blocked its tail, and struck its armor with light so bright it cracked open, with a final burst from deep inside his chest. Courage, love, fury. Everything Evan slammed both glowing hands into the creature's core. Light exploded outward. The alpha roared, staggered, and fell, its massive body shaking the ground, and then it stopped moving. Silence fell over the forest, just fire crackling softly, just Lyra's soft breath, just Evan standing. Golden light slowly dimming from his body. He turned and went to her, crouching down to lift her gently. She touched his cheek with a trembling smile. "You saved me." "Father," Evan pressed her against his chest. "No," he whispered. "You saved me too." The remaining villagers gathered at the forest edge, staring in shock at Evan, the man they once called a monster, now standing as their savior, glowing with protector light. holding a child who trusted him more than anyone. Lyra looked up at the sky as a strange signal flashed a soft blue pulse. Far away, my people. Someone survived. They are calling for me. Evan looked at the stars, then down at Lyra. Then we'll face that together, he said. Whatever comes next, the forest was broken. The night was quiet. But something new began in that silence. A bond not made by blood, but by choice, by courage. By a heart strong enough to protect a world Evan, once called a monster, had become a father legend, a protector reborn, and the universe had just noticed him.